find a God like you. I can turn right, I can turn left, but I know I'll never find a God like you. If there's anything you want me to do, you know I'll do it all for you. I could go east, I could go west, but I know I'll never find a God like you. I'll never find a God like you. 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 I'll never find a God like you. Never find a God like you. Like you. Oh, I'll never find a God like you. Never find a God like you. No. Never find a God like you. Never find a God like you. Never find a God like you. Like you. Like you. Oh, I'll never find a God like you. 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 Like you. I could go east, I could go west, but I know I'll never find a God like you. I could turn right, I could turn left, but I know I'll never. Take care of your heart, take care of your soul, take care of your mind, 'cause he cares for you. And take care to believe, take care to receive, take care, you'll see that he cares for you. And he will bear your weakness in your darkest season, because he cares for you. And in your faintest moments, he will lift you up, 'cause he cares, God cares for you. Yes. So take care of your friends, take care of your kin, take care till the end, 'cause God cares for you. Take care of your cause, take care of your flaws, and take care through it all, 'cause God cares for you, and he will bear your weakness in your darkest season, because he cares for you. I know he does. And in your faintest moment, he will hold you up, 'cause God cares, he cares for you. And you don't have to live under the weight of condemnation. Give yourself the grace that you really need. Oh, you will make it through this if you just keep holding on. Don't give up on yourself, because you are not finished yet. Say, I will win, over and over again, over and over again. Yes, I will win, over and over again, over and over again. By faith I win, by faith I win, over and over again, over and over and over and over again. I am victorious, I am a winner, I will not lose, because of you I win. So I'll take care of my heart.
This is where the community is connected. 980 AM WDDO.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Macon in Middle Georgia. It's time for Village Talks with Tia and LJ. Join them live every Wednesday from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. right here on the Glory 107.9 FM, 980 AM WDDO. Log on to the Glory 107.9 FM on Facebook or YouTube to become a part of the conversation. Let's go live into the studio for Village Talks with Tia and LJ.
Is your child struggling with reading, writing, learning loss, and a culturally irrelevant curriculum? Do you want your child to be outstanding at reading and writing and also take pride in their culture? Then you want Reading Revolution Online. Reading Revolution Online is a web-based reading support program. We serve scholars in grades K through 8, and through our innovative approach, we help them build reading confidence and cultural identity development, equipping them for success in school and life. They learn about Black heroes and sheroes through captioned videos, reading selections, and other activities. Reading Revolution Online is an experience for the whole family. Do it for the culture. Go to readingrevolution.org and get your membership today.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 29 of Village Talks on the Glory 107.9 FM. As you can tell, I am not Tia or LJ, and I also have my special co-host here with me, Commissioner Donis Bryant.
Good evening.
We are filling in for the parents today, but we are excited to be here. This is a little nerve-wracking, though. I was like, I've been on the other side of it, but this is a little nerve-wracking being on this side of it.
We're going to make it.
Okay. Well, as I stated, I'm Aisha Ellen filling in, and Commissioner Donis Bryant, and we're filling in for LJ and Tia as they're still celebrating the birth of their baby girl. And so we want to welcome you to Village Talks. It's the freshest radio show and Godcast, bringing you conversations centered on community and culture from the 478 and beyond. And so, of course, we want to shout out to our sponsors and community partners who help make the show possible: Homeland Cultural Center, Assembly Brothers, and Habersham Records. Habersham Records, that's LJ's mama. And so we want to shout out and just thank the sponsors, because we got to pay the bills. So, and it's the sponsors that help to make this show possible. And we have, Commissioner Bryant, we have some folks already jumping in. I see Tia saying, y'all got this. Thank you, Tia. We see Darlene Hubbard saying good evening. Good evening to you also, Miss Hubbard. And so y'all come in and give us some support here. Jump into the chat. And we have an exciting show. I'm excited about who our special guest is today, but we'll get to that part soon. But we want to be able to just have a conversation. Commissioner Bryant, you were on a few weeks ago, and so we want to also continue the conversation about our civic power and collective responsibility as it pertains to building a stronger Macon-Bibb County. So looking forward to continuing that conversation with you and our very special guest. And so keeping with the format of the show, as you know, Tia and LJ are always very intentional on talking about what's happening in Macon and Middle Georgia. And I will say, this is Thanksgiving Eve. And yes. So I just want to say the Macon-Bibb community really had showed up and showed out and stepped up with all the various food drives and community events. I had the opportunity to participate this morning at Burdell Hunt for the Forrest B. Johnson Thanksgiving food drive. Several hundred people came through at the site, but they were at multiple sites. But there have been all kinds of food giveaways that usually go on this time of year. But of course, we amped it up a little bit in the community because of everything that was going on with the recent shutdown. And so I know, Commissioner Bryant, you had an opportunity to also be involved in a lot of food giveaways You want to share some of the things that's been going on in your district?
Sure. But before we start, I want to say it says Pastor Lisa Watson, hello. She say happy Thanksgiving to all. And you have Renata Scott. She says hello, everyone. She's the chairperson of the Democratic Party. LJ Malone says peace and blessings, y'all. And Tia Lockhart giving us some support. She said, y'all got this.
Oh.
Okay, Tia. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And y'all keep on in the chat. We want to keep the conversation going. And so it helps us when y'all tune in. So it helps us with keeping the conversation flowing.
I need for you all to hit that like and share button so other people will know that we're on the air and they can call in and ask us those questions. Some of the events that I saw today, I mean, not today, but took place in, I know that Making Mentors had one down at the Daybreak. It was at 2:00 last Thursday on the 20th. That was a great success. They fed over 150 people. They gave out Cokes. It was actually a Coke giveaway too. It was addressed as the homeless without addresses, the people without addresses. Yesterday, Fall Line Church, they gave away a lot. They had a long line. That line was so long down Rocky Creek. It was a lot of people stepping in to make sure that these people got fed and everybody had a chance to get something. So I'm excited that everybody was just kind of showing up and showing out because it was more, it seemed like more and more this year, knowing that people needed the help and everybody came together. And that's what the community should be like. It should be not one person for themselves. When one eat, we all eat.
Exactly.
And
absolutely. 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 I like that. When one eat, we all eat. And
That's
no
right.
one should be in this day and age going without. And so just thank you. There were so many different food giveaways and I know there are more to come. And so if anyone knows, of course, tomorrow is Thanksgiving and we are blessed to be able to have family or have a home and a table to sit at. But even though we've done a lot these weeks prior to the days prior to, if you know of anything that's happening on Thanksgiving Day where people can go, those who are in need, please put it in the chat so we can also share that information. If you know of anything coming in the weeks to come, of course, we know when we're in the holiday season now, so we're going from Thanksgiving and then we go right into Christmas. So I know that there'll be a lot of things that's going on. And that's what this platform Village Talks is about. And that's why it's important that we have a platform such as this to be able to share with the broader community.
I forgot also yesterday, me and Commissioner Stanley Stewart we were invited to the Umaya Mandir temple. It's the temple out on Raleigh Road, and
the Hindu temple.
The Hindu temple.
Okay,
and it was really nice. They had an event called Diwali.
Yeah.
And where they gave a lot of food that was donated to the food bank.
Awesome.
So they had a little ceremony, and it was really nice. And they have, if you've never been out there, they have a spectacular site.
Okay.
They have a big banquet room. They have volleyball. They have a stage. They have a pavilion. It's just really nice out there. So they've really grown it up out there.
Okay. And so we have people of all walks and facets within our community who's serving, and not just during this holiday season, but people in this community serve throughout. And Macon is known. Macon Nights, we're known to be able to come together and unite and for the greater good. So those are all just some great things. Also, too, just some upcoming things, not about food giveaways, but we have a community cleanup. Of course, I'm the executive director of Keep Making It Beautiful. So I'm going to have to let you all know Unionville is actually having a cleanup on Saturday, December 6th from 8 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. The group will be meeting at the corner of Grayson Avenue and Mosley Avenue in the Unionville community. So be on the lookout as far as for more information as far as that. But that's another way how you can give and give back. And we have just a list of different things that's going on. For our callers, I forgot to say this. If you want to call in and chat with us, give us a call at 478-250-1444. We want to hear from you. So give us a call either in the chat or give us a call on the phone. So now let's go ahead and go into our accountability check question. As you all know, Village Talks is known for accountability and our the accountability check questions. So the question of the day: if you could change one thing about how our Macon Bibb communities are served, what would it be and why? Once again, if you could change one thing about how our Macon Bibb communities are served, what would it be and why? So call us once again, 478-250-1444, or you can comment on social media. So what about Commissioner Bryant? What about you as a commissioner?
Yeah, I started off. If I could change one thing about how our Macon Bibb communities are served, it would be I would change the makeup, the dynamics of the mayors and the commissioners. I know before they had um, they had everybody had a committee, and I would bring those committees back.
Okay.
And another thing I would do is I would have a panel of citizens in the community, different makeup, different people from different places, different economic backgrounds, and everybody would be just different from different walks of life, and they would have some say so about what we needed to do. I would like to hear from them, and then we kind of vote on it and see what we needed to do. But I would like that, and I would like as a commissioner to have my own money.
Okay.
I would like to be able to turn in a budget and say these are the things that I see in my district or my community that needs to be done, and this is, can we get this amount of money allocated? That doesn't mean I get it, but at least make me think I have a voice in it and say, hey, I'm going to give you your budget was $210,000. You might only get 30,000, but hey, that's your 30, and if you can get some of that stuff done, I can start on one project at a time.
Okay. Well, our topic is civic power and collective responsibility in building a stronger Macon Bibb. So perhaps we can go into a little deeper as far as in that. Let me see. We got some people saying some things in our chat. Lisa Watson said, awesome ideas. Olivia Davis, what would it take to bring that back into existence? Remember those questions because we're going to go back to them. And then LJ Malone says the East Indian community is a great example of how cultural creates economics. And he's absolutely correct about that. So, y'all keep chiming in. LJ says he loves your response, Commissioner Donis Bryant. So I think this will be a good segue into our special guest who's with us today. And we have with us former District 8 Commissioner Virgil Watkins. And I have the pleasure of sitting in between the former District 8 Commissioner and the current District 8 Commissioner. And I don't know if that has happened very often as far as in community talks, as far as having the prior and the current commissioners of a district to, be on one platform. I'm excited.
It should, because by me being newly appointed and new to this role, Virgil's been in for a long time, and who can show me better than him? So that's what we need. When people are stepping away from that position, they need to be able to let someone shadow them, or they need to be able to give them advice. They shouldn't say, well, you got this now.
Yeah, like deuces.
Yes, like deuces, I'm out, and then they go. But they should be able to, give you some knowledge about things that are going on. They should be able to talk to them. They should say, okay, if you need anything, give me a call. They shouldn't just be like, I done did that for years. So I'm glad he's here, and a lot more people, politicians, elected officials, they need to do the same. So if they know they're going to be stepping down real soon or their term is over, they need to say, okay, you know what? I invite some people to start shadowing me to see what's going on, so that they don't get in there and they have this, they don't know where to go, to the left, to the right.
Because if anything, it is a learning curve, but it definitely helps when it's a transition, sort of a passing of the baton. So welcome, Virgil.
Yes.
I was joking with him earlier. I was like, "Oh my gosh, you look you look all rejuvenated. You know, your skin is clear, your eyes are
Oh, y'all
bright,
making me blush.
Glowing.
you're glowing."
Y'all making me blush.
I don't even see no gray hair.
I got like 5 right here coming in pretty good. But no, thank you guys for having me and let me be a part of this moment. Again, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone that's listening as we get ready to enjoy the holidays and our families. And again, I'm glad to see that you're doing well in the role of District 8. I'm glad that y'all are allowing me to still come back and participate in events and speak my piece here and then. Hey, if I could, I just wanted to go on that accountability question just to start us off. So in my time in office, one of the things that I noticed on the local level, and I think we all notice on the federal level, is the role that money plays in our politics, in our running of a city. The money, what corporations are doing, matters way too much versus the needs and the plights of the people, right? We focus on the federally and everywhere. We focus on the stock market as our greatest indicator of how people are doing versus their happiness, whether or not you're able to feed your family. Those kind of take a second seat to the stock market and other financial indicators. We do it here when we talk about our income tax rates and our property taxes versus the plight of our children. And one of those, I think, like for me, in being in office for as long as I am, and as I think about what it would be like to continue on to higher office, it's really about whether or not how good I am at policy, how good I am at public speaking takes a second seat to can you raise $1 million? And that's what we saw in the last mayor's race for Macon. It takes $1 million to run. It takes tens or 15s of millions of dollars to have a chance at being a real congressperson. You get into the Senate, you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars to run for office, to do what to do. And what we want from politicians, elected officials, and our servants is to do the right thing. Do the right thing, make it popular to me later, explain to me why you're doing it. Don't do the popular thing. Don't do the thing that's conceding to money all the time. And there are communities that have figured out campaign finance reform. It's kind of the point of all that rant.
Wow. Wait, can you say it again? Campaign
I'm
writing this down.
Campaign finance reform, the ways in which we fund our candidates. Like right now, we know we have the general limits of 5,000, 2,000. We have super PACs that can eat that up. And we're seeing different ways that a lot of money can be funneled even into a city council race, right? And the purest heart doesn't get a chance to really stand out in that. And that's the part I think I hate the most. So creating, like even in the city of DC, Washington, DC, our nation's capital, they are actually capped at the amount of money that they can raise. They're also, they add other caveats. If you agree to be state funded, you put yourself at a minimum and you're given $25,000 to run your race. Everyone has the same amount. So it becomes about the skill level and how true are you. And so I think that would take us a lot further, even in the kind of the issues that you were mentioning earlier, that we're not always, as a commission, kind of bowing down to the smallest or the big numbers, that you're able to be for the people. You get, I think that's just the way we fund it is a great start to a lot of issues that we have. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you have definitely dropped a lot of knowledge just in that first part. So can you all imagine what this conversation is going to be like just with that information? Campaign finance reform. That almost sounds like that's a whole separate show all in itself, just to be able to really get down to the nuts and bolts of that whole thing.
And I like that he mentioned that, because when I was running, somebody made the comment that the person that spends the most money is probably the one that's going to win.
Which that's not the case. I've volunteered and worked on campaigns where that has not been the case. But
that's what they said to me, and I was like, "What?" And I wanted to tell them, being a servant, you may not have money, because being a servant, you give a lot of stuff away. If I want to get biblical with people, that was one of the things that Jesus told one of his disciples, if you want to go with me, give up everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so it shouldn't be about the money, because for them to get the vote, I already got money, I'm trying to get the vote, unless you're going to take your money and help in this in this community. So it should not be about the money, whether you get my vote.
I'm a little dated in my research, but there was a point not too long ago where the stat was about 90. The person with the most money and that raises the most money 90% of the time wins an election.
Okay.
I actually think it's gotten worse. And as a community, you have to take a time out and appreciate that race with Stanley Stewart and the race that Stanley won, Commissioner Stewart won. That is a rarity to see on the local level or any level. That I think it was a 10-to-1 money gap, and he was able to win. That really speaks to something that's going on in this connection with the community, because that's hard to do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
if we're gonna quote word, then the first shall be last and the last shall be first, and that's all I'm gonna say on that right there.
Let me read some of the comments.
We're gonna get to the comments, and then also callers. Also remember, give us a call 478-250-1444. I'm gonna turn it over to Commissioner Bryant. She's gonna read some of the comments.
Pastor Lisa Watson said, yes, shared wisdom and experience like Elaine Huckabee Lucas does. She does. You can call her and ask her some questions, and if she knows, she's going to tell you. And if she doesn't know, she'll say, I don't know, but you need to call this person. Also, LJ Malone says, I would love to see candid conversations about the Black community and how decisions that are made impact us with the data to back it. Tia Lockhart says he had the power of the people behind him. I think she's talking about you right then, Virgil. Renata Scott says, join the Democratic. Renata Scott says, join the Democratic Committee on December the 2nd, 2025 for our legislative delegation town hall. Pastor Lisa Watson says, what's up to you? Watkins, good to see you doing well. And I think that's the last one right now.
Okay. Well, let's transition and let's talk about, once again, I have the pleasure of having the former District 8 Commissioner Virgil Watkins here with me, but also the current District 8 Commissioner Donis Bryant. And recently, and it started when Commissioner Watkins was a commissioner, he allocated some funds for Keep Making Beautiful for the District 8 cleanup and collaboration. And so that effort started under Commissioner Watkins, but it was implemented under Commissioner Bryant. Commissioner Watkins, you want to share a little bit more about that the public safety funds and
and that's to your current, to one of your points that you mentioned earlier, that was the allocation of funds. Just about anytime you can get the majority of the commission to agree with you, there's an opportunity to allocate some funds from your government. So we had a better tradition of, like I say, having funds that you had discretionary funds. So we had an opportunity with the school zone cameras as we were negotiating on how those were going to be split and whether or not we were going to do it. Honestly, I don't like them. Probably shouldn't have started taking the money from them. I think they burden folks a lot, and I think there are better ways to get to school zone safety than fines. Mm-hmm. But we had the opportunity to allocate some funds, and the commission, we each, I forget the total amount, but we each had a pot of money that we were able to allocate from that first year's school zone funds. Okay. I'd say there's always an opportunity. Almost any time that there is a new source of funds that the mayor is presenting or is being presented for some reason, it needs to have some type of policy around how it gets distributed. So funds from, like I say, a new fee that gets created or a new fine, how it gets distributed, whether or not you're doing a percentage basis here, there, it goes straight to the savings account. Somewhere there should be a policy, a legislative policy that's delegating that. So you always have that opportunity to say, hey, that's cool that you're Mr. Mayor. That's cool that you're putting $5 million over here for the schools and the truancy officers, but we also want to deal with the $1 million split 9 ways for the commissioners. Yes. We did that several times with the Blighted Homes initiative that we were doing. We got a $10 million bond, pretty much a loan, which the commission agreed to do, and we split that up $1 million per district to figure out how to. And so basically, for the districts 3120406 zip code, we were handing out pretty much turning in addresses for the houses that we wanted torn down in the next batch to the contractors. The county, the 10 and the more affluent districts were coming up with more creative, I think, dog parks and other solutions to make theirs work. So it worked very well. Every commissioner was able to figure out something to do to improve their district. We ended up with quite a few parks from that. I think part of the Fillmore Thomas Park renovation happened because of that initiative as well. So yeah.
Okay, so with the cleanup, and we got some questions we're going to get to, but with the cleanup initiative, that the 30,000 that you allocated toward Keep Making Bid Beautiful, that's fine. Toward the end of your term, it was received by Keep Making Bid Beautiful during Commissioner Bryant's term, and she continued with that rolling, and I appreciated that. So because I know, and I'm not necessarily speaking from a local government, I'm just talking about whether it's local, state, federal. I know sometimes a new administration does not necessarily continue the wants or wishes of the prior, and so the fact that she continued and she picked up where you left off, and that partnership, and I think we just had a great turnout of volunteers. It's a continuous effort. We have a private company that's now going behind what the volunteers cleaned up and doing some more of that cleanup initiative.
So one, thank you for receiving it and being patient and us getting that done. And again, Denise, you didn't have to. You could have went anywhere in the world with the funds once you figured out they was there. But I really appreciate that from you for us getting that project done, because I think we all agree that our kids deserve clean sidewalks to walk down while they're going to school.
Yes.
And again, it's a basic request, but somehow that turns political. Because of the money that's needed. We got to allocate funds, and we have a greater community conversation that needs to be had about who's deserving when it comes to those types of things. But you have done a great job at Keep Making Bid Beautiful. 30,000 is so little money for the amount of work that you and those volunteers did, and the way that you're stretching those funds to make it work is truly humbling and appreciative. Like, because oftentimes we 30,000 for that amount of work for what a contractor would have charged and what needs to be done is a drop in the bucket. But your commitment to getting us there, and I think the city is also committing to do some additional work and to try to maintain it. I think we're heading in the right direction. I know y'all did the walking school bus tour some years ago, but I think that put it in perspective for a lot of people who move by very quickly when you're passing it, that are decision makers, to see exactly that. No, if you're a 5'2" kid, the weeds in some of our areas can be above them. Like, they can be unseen. They have to walk in the sidewalk.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, they can't even walk on the sidewalk. You got to walk in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
And folks ask, and I get that. Folks will be like, why are the kids walking in the street? Because the sidewalks don't make any sense.
Exactly.
Like, they're dirty, they're broken. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. And then it also comes the other part of that when it comes to just some of the environmental justice issues, when students or when residents and general citizens are living near or illegal dump sites, all just the health hazards that come about as far as with that. And so I want to thank you. I've thanked you socially on social media, Commissioner Watkins, but I do want to thank you publicly because there were many other great organizations and causes that you could have allocated those funds to. I am glad you had an opportunity to come with us on that walking school bus audit that we did, and then that helped you to understand some of the work that we were doing and some of the goals that we were trying to accomplish. And then once again, Commissioner Donis Bryant for continuing that. So you want to go to some of the questions?
Eldred Malone had a question for Watkins. He says, can Commissioner Virgil Watkins please explain what it was like to operate our local government with committees compared to how it is now with us not having them? Also, how common do you think it is for local, consolidated, and non-consolidated governments to operate without them? So you may just want to go first and then second.
Yeah, so it depends on what type of community that you want to be. For a town that's like 10, 15,000 people dealing with one school and 17 police officers and a volunteer fire department, having a committee of 3 people. I know there's one town in our state that has literally one county commissioner, and she's the mayor.
Oh, wow.
But again, it's less than 7,000 people that make up that community. I consider Macon to be we are a metro area, and for metro areas and places with more than 100,000 citizens, it's not common at all. We tend to mimic the local governments at that level, try to mimic state houses and more formal bodies. Sometimes we're not bicameral in the sense of we have 2 Senate or that type of sense, but we try to function as a legislative body that provides oversight for the administrator, which is the mayor. When there was a chairman of finance and it was an issue of money, or if we wanted an audit or review, the chairman of finance created an agenda that would say the review of Project Icarus. We need the audit and the full monthly report, and we're going to do this every quarter. And staff, maybe sometimes begrudgingly, but either way, it was their job to provide that report. There was no discussion about it not being able to be on the agenda because the commissioners were the agenda setters. It was the mayor's and administration's duty as executives to provide that information. Under the no committee structure, it creates a burden. It makes the oversight responsibility, which is the primary responsibility of a legislative body, more strained because you don't have the agenda setting power to say today we're going to talk about Project Icarus. The administration is able to put that off, set an agenda, and that's a problem. And it can be a problem when you need oversight. And with the city as large as Macon is, we are, again, hundreds of thousands of citizens, 280 million, pushing $300 million general fund budget, more than $1 billion moves through Macon bid when we talk about economic impact quarterly. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of industry, a lot to pay attention to. A lot of the parts that scared me were the really boring things too. There are a lot of things that I'm ready to go home, but someone said that you got to look at this pension or you got to look further at this CDBG money. So we're here flipping through page 52, 57 to get to what a fact is or what the true information is. And over the years, we've started to lose that. And one of the reasons I think too, though, it's not any one. I think it's kind of the cycle of government too. When we were consolidated in 2014 and the years leading up to that consolidation, our annual payroll was our biweekly payroll was like $4.9 million. We had $5.2 million in the bank, right? So the need for us to dot every I and dot every penny, and then we could find a savings of 100,000. That's what we were doing. The budgets were a whole lot more itemized. When we consolidated, well, 2 things: we consolidated, and then COVID happened, which created with those ARPA funds and the COVID funds, it created an influx of cash where we went from on Saturday night having $1 million. At one point, we had to do what we call a tax anticipation notice, which was a loan to make payroll once. And a couple times in Macon's history, we had to do that before consolidation. So us having 40, 50 millions of dollars in the bank to play with. And that taking off pressure, we went from, like I say, having 1 day of reserve to 90 days of reserves in a very short period, which I think just like with your household, when you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, you can be a little bit more liberal with the appetizers at Red Lobster, right? You don't have to go to the calculator and count and pull out a receipt. Yeah.
Okay. And maybe in terms, so our saints we can understand is, for those of us who are members of churches and congregations, but we also have ministries. And really the work is done in the ministry.
Correct.
And then when, the body, we come together as far as for corporate worship, but the work of the church is done during those ministries.
Absolutely. So, and like I say, I go back to 2007 when we were still the city council. The schedule then was Monday, Wednesday from 9 to 3. There were committees meeting. We had the standing committees, then we had ad hoc committees. So it would be like the public safety committee, but then public safety had an ad hoc committee on the jail at one point. Then had a ad hoc committee that will get formed on youth violence that will meet for a while. We did stuff on vice marks and alcohol license, and those would form and wane. So Monday through Wednesday was committee meetings, and then once, just like you said, I mean, it'll be filled. The schedule will be filled with them.
Yeah.
And we've reduced that down to pretty much two meetings a month now. And the part that bothers me with the city that has as much marginalization as we do in our city, to really get the true change and revolutionary progressive work, it requires us to sit down and go through the numbers and figure things out and have uncomfortable conversations. We don't like the uncomfortable conversations, but they are most necessary for a city that's dealing with poverty like we're dealing with it, the violence that we don't like, guns, youth, and everything else. We have income poverty issues where money is the medicine and solutions are needed.
Right.
But,
money is the medicine,
and the solution that's needed.
Okay.
So we have another question. Ms. Tia Lockhart, she wants to know, now that those types of committees are no longer in existence, how can the community or the commissioners get those types of audits done?
I think to get the details and the level that you want, addressing the committee issue on some level, and I think there will be a situation or a time, or a big thing about politics and the maneuvering is understanding the timing, reading the room and understanding when it makes sense to present this, right? I've missed sometimes, I've got it dead right sometimes, I've stuttered and missed it sometimes, but there'll be a situation that the logical conclusion is we need to spend more time on this. Let's form a committee, and having the people in our body like Commissioner Bryan and Commissioner Stewart and Commissioner Bronson, Commissioner Howlett to say those things. Hey, no, I'm really interested in this. This 15 minutes right here that we're discussing, it isn't enough time. We need to come back and put some specialization in here and hear some reports and see some PowerPoints. For whatever reason, that issue hadn't quite happened in that space, but it'll come. I don't know if it'll be the jail. I hope it's to figuring out what we're doing with the jail, what's up, what's down, or where. But yeah, I you.
Okay. And just to remind, don't forget to call us 478-250-1444. Commissioner Bryant, we got anything in the chat that you want to?
Tina Denard, she said, unity is powerful. So happy Tia LJ started this platform. This helps the community. And Miss Olivia Davis has joined us, and she just agrees with Tia Lockhart, and it says it's like a policy change in how things are done. A consensus of the commissioners agreeing to those efforts. I just want to add, I know, and it wasn't, I didn't really think of it like that, but hearing Virgil say it, as a sheriff, deputy, I used to have to sit in those meetings with Mayor Rickard, and some of those people would come back in from the committees and report back to him and tell them, things that they had talked about. So now that I think about that, it was important because all the commissioners were sitting in there, and that one person would come in and tell them, what they came up with. And I was sitting in there and listening to that. And, and then the commissioners, they get to agree whether they want to go with it or not. But at least they had somebody bringing it back to them.
Okay. And it made me actually think as well. We got Chris Barfield. Chris Barfield let me see if I can read all of this. It's a lot before I go to my next point. Chris Barfield, good evening, Mr. Barfield. He says, if I could change one thing about how our Macon Bibb communities are served, it would be who our elected officials truly answer to. They should work for the people who live here, not for the companies that pour hundreds of thousands of dollars into campaigns and effect, these his words, by a mayor. Every dollar they spend is our money, not theirs. And it's time they remember that. Yes, we're still about 3 years away. And some of you have heard I may put my name in the next mayor's race. I've been told I'll never win because I won't raise the kind of money the current mayor has, and that he'll beat me like a drum. Maybe so, but here's the difference. I can't be bought and I won't be bought. That's the change I want for Macon Bibb. I want the chance to show the citizens of Macon Bibb County what true representation really means. And so that was from Mr. Chris Barfield. Current commissioners, and y'all have any comments on or want to, respond to Mr. Barfield as far as his comment? He's responding back to the accountability question that was asked earlier.
Sounds like he just said, "Put me in, coach."
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to kind of we're kind of speaking in the same vein. I think, yeah, we should talk more as a community about how we're financing campaigns and why are we only doing the minimum. Like I say, the only rules that we have locally are the state rules, which are basically the federal campaign rules. But there are communities we can't go more. The federal limit is $5,000 per person. We can't go more than that, but we can do less. We can limit the number. We can limit the way that a corporation, like there are changes that can be made here that I think would put more power back to the people versus the corps.
Okay.
And I think that the more that we show facts and transparency in the candidates, I think money should not matter. It's not going to matter in the long run. Once people start waking up, like they say, people are still asleep, they still naive. When they start waking up to facts and to what's really going on in not just here in Macon, but state level, then they're going to start thinking more about the candidate that they vote for.
Okay, so good points. So let me bring up, because I know we've been talking about more so the role of, as far as commissioners, as we're talking about our civic power and collective responsibility. But most people may not know as far as some of the roles or some of the appointed positions that also exist within our local government. We have a lot of boards. The organization that I manage, Keep Making Bibb Beautiful, is actually a Make and Bibb appointed board. And so the mayor and commissioners vote on and decide who serves on the Keep Making Bibb Beautiful board. And there are other similar boards like the Friends of Rosa Parks Square and some others. But can you explain, because most people may not be aware of that. So can you explain about some of those appointed boards and those appointed positions and the role that they play in how we're governed as well?
So over the years, Macon Bibb County, for a lot of, and it's an interesting space to navigate. It took me many years to figure it out. I imagine the newer commissioners on the board are still trying to figure it out as well. But we created a lot of nonprofit agencies and nonprofits and other agencies in our community to kind of diffuse the power away from the central authority. And a lot of it, like, so our water authority is ran by some appointed members. And appointed means that the mayor, 9 times out of 10, there's some outliers, but 9 times out of 10, the mayor makes a recommendation and the commission votes it up or down. So a lot of these boards are made up of like 5 or 7 member boards. So the water authority is actually one of these where it's not actually in the Macon Bibb County consolidated governmental business portfolio. It's its own separate deal. Planning and zoning is the same way.
But two commissioners sit on that board, the Macon Water Authority.
Yes, okay. Yes. Planning and zoning is in that same, but those are actually 2 commissioners that are appointed by the mayor.
Okay.
He chose to appoint 2 commissioners, and that's been a tradition for a while. This was not anything that the new mayor decided to do. That's just how we've done for a while.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just, when you said that was 2 commissioners, was it because at one point before we consolidated, one was city?
Yes,
and
exactly.
one was county.
Exactly.
So, but now we're all county.
Right. So at that point, the county, the chair of the county commission would make an appointment, and the city council would make an appointment. And I think, and at that point, it was a city council member and it was a county commissioner. That's how they used it, and that's how it's tradition. The planning and zoning is in the same boat. I think probably the largest ones that folks don't pay attention to is that the city of Macon outright, or the consolidated government doesn't own actually as much land as you think. The industrial authority, when it gets to the Kumos and those large tracts of land on behalf of the county, that nonprofit's function is to own and maintain industrial tracts of land. The Urban Development Authority owns and maintains land in the urban core. So the Macon Mall, the amphitheater are owned by Macon. And that creates a lot of confusion and like when people are trying to ask questions about it. But it's not owned by Macon Bibb. It's owned and operated by the Urban Development Authority. Newtown Macon owns a lot of properties and maintains, and they're a nonprofit whose mission is to develop downtown Macon.
So, but with those authorities, I mean, I'm not sure about Newtown, but with authorities that you mentioned, those board members on those authorities are still appointed by the mayor and approved by the council. Is that correct?
Yes, with some outliers, there are some where the board so some of the boards break down to where 5 are appointed by the commission or the mayor, and 2 members may be elected by the body, or it just depends on how, like I said, so I've mentioned maybe 3 or 4, but I would say the ecosystem of Macon Bibb probably comprises 20, 25 of these type of agencies. And that's before you get into the smaller ones like
Keep Macon Bibb Beautiful,
Keep Macon Bibb Beautiful,
Rosa Parks Square,
Citizen Advocacy, where they're moving 100,000 or less. And a lot of these agencies, they've been around so long and their program income is so significant that they don't actually drain on the Macon budget. Where, like I say, like some of the smaller ones where the relationship with us and the library is that we contribute the matching funds to the library because libraries don't make money. Mm-hmm. But with some of the larger ones, the Industrial Authority receives rent from Kumo and other places where they are very successful on their own. Okay. But the hospital, there's a hospital authority that I think y'all are appointing people to next week. That they run. Mm-hmm. So there was a point when that hospital was completely owned and operated by the city. It's now changed hands many times, but there's still a hospital authority that has some governing capacity that we appoint people to. And it goes on and on. Okay. You have like the Macon you also have like Macon Transit Authority, the health department. Yeah. So let me see. We got some questions, some comments in the chat. So where are we? I'm trying to scroll and keep up with everything. LJ said, that's a great point, Aisha. People don't understand how many appointed positions there are in Macon, and it seems as if the same people are rotated on multiple boards rather than the various community members getting opportunities to serve. Zakia Muhammad says, good evening to the village. Hi, Zakia. Not just the same people, but the same mindset. I saw a map one time that it showed like where all our appointees kind of live with dots. And we're very much, even us as like elected officials, we're very much clustered into a particular space of our community that we need to pay attention to a little bit more. It's hard to not live downtown or in the North Macon corridor and be running and having authority in our community. That's something that we need to pay more attention to. So are you saying, are you saying that some of our appointed positions lack diversity? So and not just diversity from a race standpoint, but from a geopolitical standpoint as well, as something to pay. One of the more nuanced ways to pay attention to. I think our leaders, the mayor, the commission, we have done a good job when you look, talking about just racial diversity. I think a lot of the boards are very diverse, but from the economic standpoint, you have to get to us, and it's kind of a mix of culture too, though, mm-hmm. because part of being appointed to a board is a show of I've been a good civic-minded community member who deserves this level of authority. We don't typically risk it on people we don't know, and the way Macon is aligned when you have gotten yourself to a affluent point, North Macon zip codes are calling your name. It's hard to avoid those areas, but that it does a disservice to the mindset and the leaders that are in South Macon on Houston Avenue, because there are leaders there, but they haven't gotten to the point where they're recognized by the broader Macon. Because it's just something I think the Transit Authority has policy where they do a pretty good job of making sure that some of the members of their board also ride the transit bus, are also transit patients, not patients, but clients. Mm-hmm. And the Housing Authority also has a requirement that some of their board members live within their buildings. I think that those type of additional policies, I think, can help alleviate some of that stress. But yeah, I'm sorry.
So what gets me about what you're not about what you're saying, but you're correct. But what I'm finding out is that when you do your homework on a lot of these boards, somebody is kin to somebody, connected to somebody, whether they've gotten married and their name is no longer the same and they've taken on somebody else's name. But when you go down and do that history, it's the daughter or the sister or the brother-in-law. And I'm like, okay. So he's on this committee, but you got your sister on this committee, and her last name is not the same as yours because she's married, but her husband is on this authority. So it's kind of like, might be diverse, but it's some kinship going on too, and it ain't on my diversity level.
Okay. We have Cynthia Lockhart wants to know, how do community members become privy to board appointments, and what's the criteria for these boards that are under City Hall appointment? Criteria can vary depending upon the board or the council, whatever you want to call it, advisory board or council is. I know the criteria varies. I know that can be found, though, that is on the Make and Bib website, where you can go into the ordinance and see as far as the boards, and sometimes it lists
all of them. So like I say, everyone that is appointed at some point, they're going to be at a city council. I keep saying city council, but that's just showing my age. I guess that's going to be a thing as I get older. But from the county commission, everyone is appointed, and so they will be in the minutes, or you could go back and find the meeting. From all of our large boards, like the large some, they have a website. The Industrial Authority has a website going on there, and the About Us section will show you everyone that is a board member, and that's going to be true for I always say, for folks that are trying to figure out politics and trying to get interested in what's going on, start with one thing. To try to figure out all the boards at one time, you give yourself a headache. But if you already have a affinity to health department or health issues, start figuring out the health department and what they do. Then move to River Edge, figure out how they work. Most of it is going to be found. So one of the things about governmental data and just, I think, the way the system works, all of it is pretty much at this point online. We don't make it easy for you. Might not be the easiest for you to find, but it takes a bit of digging, research. Now AI can help if you can give it a good prompt to pinpoint where to go. A lot of the City of Macon stuff is PDF, just scanned in old paper with PDF, so it's less searchable than what I think a lot of people are used to with, when everything is digitized fully. You can type this in and find it, but so it's there, but you just got to work for it. And once you kind of get the pay, like I said, if you started with the health department and understood how to find things within the health department, when you move on to planning and zoning, it's going to you'll have a process of how to deal with them. But yeah.
And I want to add too, and I can speak just being the executive director of Keep Making Bid Beautiful. All of these appointed boards, because we do receive public funds, our meetings are open. And so if you, and I can only speak right now for Keep Making Bid Beautiful, but if you are ever interested, if you volunteer with us and you're ever interested in learning more and how to find information on how to serve on our board. Now, once again, as the executive director, I have no say. I don't appoint the board, our current board members, but we do make recommendations. But the decision is based on made from the mayor and voted on by the commissioners. But I still say, look for if it's Keep Making Bid Beautiful. If you're interested in pedestrian safety, there's a pedestrian safety review board. Whatever it is that you are interested in, look and find out if that board or council, if it exists, and then inquire and find out when their meetings are. Our meetings are open. And so I'll be glad to discuss that with anyone offline, but you're always welcome. Commissioner Bryant has had an opportunity to come to a few of our meetings as well. But as citizens, our meetings are open, and you can find all that information as far as on our website or contact me. So if you have an interest, like Commissioner Watkins said, start with what you're truly interested in and passionate about, and see if that board exists, and just find out how you can serve, even from attending a meeting, from a volunteer standpoint. I think, to me, the best people who could serve as board members are those who are already doing the work without the title. Mm-hmm. At least that's how I figure, especially for an organization such as the one that I oversee. You want to share anything, Commissioner Burns?
No, I was just going to read one of the comments. from Olivia Davis. She says, LJ Malone seems that we need to push civic re-education for our communities so the general public has a better, correct understanding of all the working parts. I didn't realize until recently how broad UDA was within Maconville.
Yeah.
And Chris Barfield said variety. Zakia Muhammad says true. And I think she's making a comment to what I said about people being kin to each other. And Chris Barfield said, no Barfields, I don't think. No, Mr. Barfield, I hadn't seen a Barfield on any of the commissions or boards. Hey, y'all probably Barfield.
As we close out this conversation, has reminded me of a book that I enjoy. The author is Heather McGee, The Sum of Us. Anybody that's like in this chat or asking these types of questions, you would enjoy it. The basis of the book, she poses the question, as a community, as a country, why don't we have nice things, right? We all want like free healthcare. We would like to go to a clean public pool. There was a point in our country where we had it, but she gets it really analytical and into the data of that very much question. Why don't we have the nice things that we want, right? And I think a lot of it is in this conversation when we're talking about as a community, the money that is available to our community, that conversation on who's deserving, who's in charge, who are those decision makers asking those questions, and us that want better, that want nice things, need to realize why that question hasn't been answered. Yeah. I think she does a beautiful job of it. But yeah.
And that's what's the Heather McGee.
Heather McGee, yeah.
And what's the title of
the Sum of
Us? The Sum of Us.
The Sum of Us.
It definitely has all of those words.
Okay.
But yeah, that's it. I got it right.
Okay. Because now it's coming down. It's not even about people wanting nice things. It's people wanting the basics.
And quality.
And that's what it's really boiled down to, because there's so many who are without just the basics, the basic needs and necessities, food, clothing, and shelter. Is becoming something that's almost of privilege and not of just rights as humans. And so, yes, definitely we want nice things, but I think there's a population who's just wanting the basics.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of lacking when it comes to the basics.
And I don't believe that people should have to like follow the era. And when I say that, that means like when I first moved to Macon, there was a Walmart on Pineville. And if you didn't have that one on Harrison Road, they keep moving stuff further and out. Some people can't afford to get up and move, sell their house and move to where everything is going. So, for them just to have the basic needs and the quality of life where they live, where they pay taxes, where they, kind of help build this community, because they paid taxes and they worked in this environment, they worked in this community, and their money has paid for them to have some of the same basics and quality of life on this side versus another side. So I'm just real passionate about that. We should have some of the stuff in our neighborhoods that everybody else have. We're gonna split this pie 8 ways and everybody gonna get a slice of the pie.
Like it.
All right, I like it too. So District 8, we're wrapping up, but District 8, y'all are in good hands. The torch has been passed very well. I was joking with Commissioner Watkins earlier, but how long were you in your between city council and commissioner? You pretty much had almost a 20-year
I'm a
career.
retiree from the Macon-Bibb County. Unofficially, most of it was part-time work, but 21 years.
Okay, 21 years. Okay. And so the torch has been passed, and we're just excited. I'm excited. We got a lot of great things, partnerships that's going on that started under you, Commissioner Watkins. So I'm giving you your flowers right now, and publicly thanking you as we wind down. So in 30 seconds or so, any key takeaways or any last minute thoughts that you want to leave, Commissioner Watkins, with the people?
No, I've talked a lot, so I throw it back to Brian. But again, thank y'all for having me and indulging me today. It's been a pleasure.
And I just want to say what he said. He said, if you want to know about stuff, get involved. And I mentioned when we did the cleanup, start with the little stuff. Even if it's just coming out, doing the cleanup, talking to people, getting to know people, definitely know who represents your community. stay in contact with them. Look, if you don't know who they are, City Hall and find out. Set up a meeting with them. Reach out to them. We as commissioners don't know every citizen in our neighborhood, our community, but once you call me, for me, I remember you, and I definitely will call you back.
Okay, and can you let the people know, Commissioner Bryant, as far as when are the commissioner meetings?
Commissioner meetings are the first and third Tuesdays, and normally for a public they start at 6, but I will be there at 4 so that you can hear things that are on the agenda, and you can speak about something that's on the agenda or not. You can sign up to speak starting about 5:30. You sign a piece of paper when you walk in, and they'll let you talk.
Okay. Well, I think our time is winding down here.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, and I'm wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Tia and LJ, for having the confidence in us to run this ship in your absence.
You did great.
This was a great conversation. It's always great when you are with people that you know and like-minded people to be able to share, because we're all passionate about this community, and we all want to see Macon thrive.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry.